Terron is currently the vocal music teacher at Burnett Middle School here in Union, New Jersey. And he's also the Union County representative for the New Jersey Education Association's Sexual Orientation Gender Identity Committee.
Right, yeah.
So join me in welcoming Terron.
All right, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for coming out. We got beautiful weather. Well, first I want to thank the committee for asking me to speak today. It's been an honor to speak with all of you, and thank you so much for having me. When they asked me to speak, right away I said yes, and then about 24 hours later I was like, well, what am I going to say? And I reached out to Daryl, Mr. Daryl Stewart, and Daryl said to me, you know, the theme is equal without exception. And that really hit my heart because anybody who knows me knows I'm an egalitarian, and I believe that all people are equal. Daryl also said he wanted this to be educational. So I realized that almost everybody now knows how Pride began. We know in 1969, a group of Rainbow Coalition members said that we are tired of being treated like less than human, and they fought back. What most people don't know is the history behind that flag. Our Pride flag was created by a man named Gilbert Baker in 1978. And he didn't just paint the rainbow, he created the rainbow in the white. Every color, every single color up there has a meaning. Red is for life, orange is for healing, yellow is for sunshine, green is for nature, blue is for art, and purple is for spirit. It also represents the journey that many LGBTQ people like myself have to go through. So let me take a few minutes to take you down that road. Red is for life. And for me, for those who know me, once again, my name is Terron Singletary. And my journey started, I say, on a red couch. My mother was a young mother. I was her first child. And from the story I gather, she didn't know she was in labor. She was feeling some pain. And she saw my dad outside playing basketball, so she limped herself out there and said, hey, can you give me a butter roll? So you guys a little secret, my dad never bought my mom that butter roll. So it's about 40 years, Dad, you know, you might want to give my mom that butter roll. So she came in the house in the living room and sat down on the beautiful red couch. And a few minutes later, her water broke. I was coming into the world. And shortly after that, my grandma ran into the living room and said, Princess, get off my couch. So my grandma did love that couch. After a few phone calls, finally the paramedics came, but they were a little too late because I was on my way. And I was literally born in Vauxhall, New Jersey. And growing up, LGBTQ youth, I gravitated towards music. I love music. Music is my first love. And I want to thank the members of First Baptist Church being my first vocal teachers. They gave me a microphone and said, you're going to sing. And sing is what I did. My childhood was great, I think, for the most part. But one thing I didn't have, I never met anybody who was LGBTQ when I was growing up, or at least out as LGBTQ. So I didn't have that. So we say orange is for healing, and part of healing for anybody who's an LGBTQ plus or Rainbow Coalition youth is coming out. And for those of you who are not LGBT, coming out is not merely just announcing that you're gay. It's a more deep spiritual search. The biggest part about coming out is coming out to yourself. And I remember the moment where I came out to myself. I happened to be listening to Alicia Keys' album, and it started with Moonlight Sonata playing. And Alicia Keys said, whatever stops you from dreaming, whatever actually stops you from living, flip it. And at that moment, I determined that I have to be who I really am. So coming out to, friends and And acquaintances was fairly easy. I had no idea how I was gonna come out to my mother. But one day when I was 21, it was September night, I'll never forget this. I came home around 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll tell you guys a little secret. My mom, she used to love to sleep with club music blasting.
Oh my God.
I literally walked in the house to thump, 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 thump every night. Now, my mom could sleep with that, I couldn't. So I would creep into her room, lower the volume gradually, sneak out, and go to bed. Well, my mother caught on to me and started locking her door. So this night I come home, I get the music going, and I just want to go to sleep. I try to creep into my mother's room, the door was locked. So I banged on the door. I was like, boom, 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 Mom, we gotta talk. She was like, what do you want to talk about? I'm asleep. So I kept banging, and I said some things you probably should never say to your mother. And she decided to come out. She sits down in my bedroom, lights a cigarette, and she knows I hate cigarette smoke. So Mom's like, what do you want to talk about? And I kind of go on this long rant about, Mom, I'm grown now, I learned a lot about myself, and there's some things you might not know. And she's like, is this when you're going to tell me that you're gay? And she kind of caught me off guard for a second. I just stood there and I was like, oh yeah, I am going to get to that. And then I realized, like, Mom, you took my moment. This is my moment. And I could tell she wanted to go back to bed. So she was like, you know, I might have missed a lot of your shows when I was growing up, but I know more about you than you give me credit for. And I love you. And actually, I have gay friends. And then she said, now can I go back to bed? I'm like, well, I guess so. And my mom went back to her room and turned back up her music. Now then we get to yellow in the flower. And yellow's for sunshine. And once your life is outside of the closet, for the first time for many of us, we can see the sun. And I remind anybody who's going through anything, whether it's coming out, whether it's financial problems, whatever you're going through, always remember the sun is always shining. It never stops shining. Sometimes the earth turns and it gets dark outside, but the sun is still shining. And sometimes the clouds come by and it rains, but the sun is still shining, always giving light and energy to us. We are one with nature. And green is for nature. And for everyone is LGBT, we are a part of this delicate circle. We are just not an accident or mistake. The truth is 5% of the world identifies as LGBTQ+, and even 10% acknowledge some same-sex attraction. And I read a blog recently that described people like me, millennials. Well, at least if you're born in the early 80s, they called us geriatric millennials. Where are my geriatric millennials at? I'm a proud geriatric millennial. The millennial generation has the largest group of people who identify as LGBTQ+ ever. Thank you, millennials. You're leading the way. Where you're going to find us, we are all the artists. And blue is for art. Has anybody ever been to a concert? Anybody ever seen a play? You know there will be no music, no show without the rainbow community.
You're right.
And even if you're not technically part of the rainbow community, if you're into the arts, we have adopted you and you have learned okay? Ask Beyonce or Madonna where they learned all that stuff from. Okay? They learned it from us. And yeah, and the truth is, you know, our history has a lot of rough and tumble. I said the last time I was standing up here that black people do not have to ask for a seat at the table because black people built the table. However, the rainbow community painted that table. And we painted that table red for life. We painted that table orange for healing. We painted that table yellow for sunshine. We painted that table green for nature, blue for art, and purple for spirit. And our spirit has a message. The truth is, we are tired of hiding. We are tired of being gaslighted and lied to. The rainbow community is not the problem with this world. The people who hate us are the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I want to remind you guys that if you were LGBTQ plus and you've experienced something from somebody else that hurts, the way to handle it is to forgive them and love them. I know it's easier said than done, but we're not going to get anywhere just hating them back. That's counterproductive. We have to love our neighbors. But we're not going to get to the holy land of equality by just asking for it. We have to demand it. Thank you. And before I leave, I have one more thing to say. When I first started teaching 11 years ago, I can't believe it's been 11 years, I had no gray hair. I was about 30 or 40 pounds thinner. But I think I wear my 200 pounds well. And I told myself I was already out of the closet, but I told myself I was going to keep my sexuality private. But over the years I realized that I was a young man who was not seeking to be positive LGBTQ plus people. And from this point on, I think it's very important to have those role models. So, in order to fulfill my mission of equal without exception, any student I encounter from this point on, I am a very proud gay man. I will not hide it from you, and you can come to me. We are equal without exception. Thank you very much for having me. Happy Pride, everybody, and live proud.